So I thank you all for your presence and interest today. And before getting to the heart of the matter, I would like to present you a very short film about the JPI Cultural Heritage, its functioning, and its research priorities formulated in its strategic research and innovation agenda. Thank you and wish you a nice information session.
An introduction to JPI Cultural Heritage. In 2008, facing great challenges that no country could tackle alone, the European Commission introduced Joint Programming Initiatives, a flexible intergovernmental process to better align the research and innovation investments and resources spent at national level. Among the 10 initiatives, JPI Cultural Heritage, with its many members, is the only one focusing mainly on the humanities. Directed by a governing board made up of representatives from all member countries and advised by an advisory and scientific board, our pillars and task forces carry out activities within the framework of the Strategic Research and Innovation Agenda. This newly updated agenda identifies 4 priority research areas, supported by 7 underlying principles. First, a reflective heritage for a resilient society sees cultural heritage as an empowering force and a collective good for society. Second, sustainable management of cultural heritage explores participatory governance, the added value of heritage, and emerging technologies. Third, cultural heritage in a changing context touches upon urban and rural development, globalization, demographic change, and tourism to investigate the positive and the negative implications for heritage. And finally, cultural heritage facing climate and environmental change focuses on both the impact of climate and environmental change on cultural heritage and heritage as a resource for sustainable development. We intend to complement the UN's SDGs and EU's Horizon Europe through improving research coordination of national programmes. By establishing heritage science as a research field in its own right in Europe and beyond, we are committed to the understanding of our past and to the building of our shared future in a worldwide context.
Well, get this working. Thank you very much and welcome to all again. I am Charles Giry de Loison and I'm the vice chair, one of 2 vice chairs of the JPI Cultural Heritage, and I also work at the ANR, which is the French Agency for Research. I hope that we could now have the screen. Shang-Yun, can we have the screen? There we are. Okay, and so we're going to start by themes and objectives. So we've got a few minutes to talk about this and answer your questions afterwards. At the end of all the presentations, we'll have questions and answers. Next slide, Shang-Yun. So what the call addresses 3 complementary themes and the interactions between cultural heritage, may it be tangible, intangible, digital, or natural, society, may it be past or contemporary, and I insist very much on the fact that it could be past or contemporary society, and ethics, that is the values on which our societies are funded. This call has put the emphasis on 3 points. 1, the valuation of cultural heritage. How do we perceive the environmental, social, cultural, and economic valuation of cultural heritage? Second emphasis is on investigating how to better include multivocality, what we mean by multivocality is the fact that we have different opinions, different approaches, different interpretations of cultural heritage and ethical considerations. And the third point is the third emphasis is the impact of crisis. And I insist it's not only COVID-19, obviously the call was written in the times of COVID-19, and it's not only contemporary crisis. You can, this call is also open to historians, therefore you can look at crises of the past. So the impact of crisis on cultural heritage and how our societies, our past societies respond. Risk management, conflicting narratives, we'll go back to that, behaviors, etc. Second slide, third slide. The call has two complementary themes. Theme 1 is cultural heritage and economic development, and theme 2, cultural heritage and sustainable strategies. So you can see that we're addressing two different themes, but these two themes can be treated together. You could have a project that englobes both themes, not necessarily one or the other. Theme 1 explores the tensions between how cultural heritage can contribute to the development of sustainable experience-based economies. I'll go back to what experience-based means, without being put at risk, and how the non-utilitarian value of cultural heritage can be promoted. Theme 2, cultural heritage and sustainable strategies. There we are exploring, or we would like you to explore the relationship between cultural heritage, democratic values, and politics in a historical perspective. And again, I insist on the fact that it can be in a historical perspective, and could have an emphasis on the construction of conflicting narratives. And how, okay, well, this is, so here are the details of theme 1, cultural heritage and economic development. So we'll be focusing on the balance between securing sustainable cultural heritage management and sustainable economic development in the cultural heritage sector. The typical example is, how do we deal with mass tourism in an area where there is cultural heritage? So you see that here the important word is sustainable. And the second focus in this theme is on how can cultural heritage contribute to an experience-based economy versus commodification of cultural heritage. So what we mean here by experience-based economy, it is an economy that engages individual customers in a way that can create a memorable event. You go to visit a heritage site, it is a memorable event for you, and you've been engaged, you've experienced something. That is what is now understood by experience-based economy. And commodification of cultural heritage, well, it's treating, in some cases, cultural heritage just as a mere basic good. So here are a certain number of examples of questions that could be explored under theme 1. I insist it is not a limited list of questions, nor a compulsory list of questions. It's just to give researchers an idea in what directions they could go. What are the consequences of the tensions between individualizations of cultural heritage experience and collective meaning making? So how do we fit in between our own personal interpretation of cultural heritage and a wider experience? How is cultural heritage value in contemporary societies? You could also say in past societies. I could have added past societies. How should the trend towards the production of experience be interpreted? So what are the implications for the purpose of economic outputs? And how have the pandemic and societal measures in connection with it impacted on the commodification of or access to cultural heritage? This question, of course, can be enlarged to other types of crisis. Please do not think that we are absolutely limited to COVID. So that's the type of questions that could be asked on theme 1. If we now go to theme 2, cultural heritage and sustainable strategies. Well, here we're focusing again on 2 points. cultural heritage as a meeting point. So what do we mean by that? Well, cultural heritage and all the research around cultural heritage has shown that it helps to link communities together, to ensure multivocality, which we were talking about previously, and it also helps to achieve sustainability. So that's one focus. And the second main focus of this theme is the conflicting narratives. How are they constructive and what are the consequences for and on cultural heritage? And you see behind this notion of conflicting narratives, you have the idea of how cultural heritage can be used in a political way, and how it can be readapted to a discourse or different types of discourses, and how cultural heritage can become a weapon in the arms or for different political situations. I think a few days ago, the destruction of the Jewish memorial of Babi Yar Kiev is a very good example of what I'm talking about here. So again, a type of examples of questions that can be explored with the same remark, not limited nor compulsory. How and by whom are narratives about cultural heritage produced? That's exactly what we've been saying. How they're used, how they're reproduced, how they're communicated, how do some rewrite history? How can cultural heritage as a multivocal meeting place be promoted? What are the consequences of nationally driven cultural heritage policies for the management of heritage, for what we call subaltern heritage or community involvement? How can cultural heritage contribute to the promotion of humanistic values? How can cultural heritage help to inform decision makers on sustainable and ethic strategies, and what barriers, opportunities, etc., does cultural heritage face when it interacts with political agendas and in the case of societies? So there are the general outline of the call and the basic aspects of the two themes, and of course at the end of this presentation, you'll be in the question and answers time, you'll be able to ask all the questions you want about these themes and the general outline. I'm now going to pass on the floor to Benjamin, who's going to take you through the procedures of answering this call. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charles. Hello, everyone. I'm Ben Connett from the National Research Agency, the French National Research Agency. And I'll tell you now about the timeline and submission procedure for this call. So I'll focus on 5 points. First of all, the general eligibility requirements for this call. Secondly, the application process, so in 2 stages, pre-proposal and full proposal. Then the timeline and key dates, followed by a few words on the submission platform, which you will have to use for submitting an application. And finally, a few takeaway messages. So on general eligibility, so a few points to note here. So first of all, the minimum duration of funded project is 24 months, so that is 2 years, and the maximum duration is 36 months. All research project proposals must involve a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 5 principal investigators. So that is a really important, actually, eligibility requirement there. We request each consortium to involve researchers from 3 different countries. And so really principal investigators are here, those leading research activities in research teams based in 3 of the minimum of 3 countries participating in the call. So the countries participating in the call are those listed already on the CHSC webpage. There are 9 in total. If you're not based in any of these 9 countries, you may still participate in a JPI CH project, but you won't be eligible for funding. So you may participate as a cooperation partner only. We also request that there is at least one stakeholder involved in any CHAC project. So, and we refer to stakeholders as associate partner. So really the objective is that stakeholders help strengthening the impact and societal relevance of the project. So they may act in advisory or collaborative capacity in the project, or they may also contribute to research activities directly. And in principle, they wouldn't receive funding, but some funding organizations of the core funding the goal also allow for these stakeholders to receive funding. So you should really check national eligibility criteria for each of the funding organizations. So just building on this, alongside the general eligibility requirements for this goal, there are also national eligibility criteria and budget requirements that you should consider when applying for funding in this goal. So essentially each partner should check the national eligibility criteria of the funding organization of the countries they're based in prior to applying. And finally, all documents must be submitted in English. Could I have the next slide, please, Shangya? In terms of the application process, so there are two stages. First of all, so stage one, which we call here the pre-proposal stage, starting off with the matchmaking phase, which Shangwin will come back to in a few moments. So that matchmaking really aims at helping you build an eligible consortium, meeting the requirements which I've just told you about. And the pre-proposal must consist of a few elements. So a project summary, which will not be published. It's just really for information purposes for the call secretariat, because you will have to submit another one at stage two, which in this case would be published, but really just a short project summary of about 300 words at stage one. You will also have to submit a scientific document about 4 pages long, describing the project objectives, the proposed methodology, and the bibliography. Really important there too is the need to submit letters of commitment for the project leader and principal investigators. So as the involvement of at least a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 5 principal investigators from different countries is a requirement. You should demonstrate at stage one that you have developed a consortium that meets these requirements. And we will provide templates for letters of commitment and scientific document. A few points to note there. You shouldn't provide any financial information at stage one. So really, you should focus on building your consortium and the scientific aspect of this proposal. And there won't be any scientific assessment per se at stage one. As I said, really, stage one is there to ensure that applicants entering the selection process for this goal meet the basic eligibility requirements of this goal. So stage one, and I'll come back to the precise dates just later on. But stage one will end on or at least the deadline for submitting pre-proposal is on the 23rd of May. And for those applicants whose applications will be deemed eligible, you will be able to submit a full proposal from the 7th of June to the 5th of September. So you'll have about 3 months to develop this proposal. And upon submission, it should include CVs of all of the project leader and principal investigators, a publishable project summary, a description of work, budget tables as well, and letters of commitment from so AP is the associate partners, so the stakeholder, and cooperation partners. So cooperation partners are partners from countries not participating in the call, who may be able to participate with their own funding sources. And again, we'll conduct eligibility checks, and the full proposal will be assessed by an independent international assessment panel, including researchers and scientists from all the countries participating in this call. So just to note, we will provide templates for both the pre-proposal and the full proposal, and every document that you should submit as part of the call on the CHSE webpage. So it's really important that you use these templates, otherwise your application may not be considered eligible. Could we move to the next slide, please, Shangan? Yeah, thank you. So here's the timeline for the call. So today is the 8th of March. We should be publishing the call documents, if not today, later this week, but in principle, this should be today. And we'll inform you as soon as they're online via email. The deadline for submitting pre-proposals is on the 23rd of May, as I said. And then there will be about 2 weeks when we conduct eligibility checks on the pre-proposal before opening the portal for submitting full proposals until the 5th of September, as I said. And we aim at providing you with a final decision on your application by mid-November. Moving on to the next slide, please, Shangan. Yeah, thank you. So just a few words on the submission portal. So we will use the ANR's grant management system for this call, which is called SIM. And so there's a screenshot of the page you should look for and create an application from. And so there will be 2 different submission pages for stage 1 and 2. For now, there will be a link made available publicly for you to access the application portal for stage 1. And later on, if your application is considered eligible after stage 1, we will communicate you a link for accessing the submission portal at stage 2 privately. So again, we will publish instructions for applicants to use the SIM on the CHSE webpage, and you should really look through these documents first, and in principle, information that you need is there. But of course, feel free to contact us if you have any question. And apologies in advance because I think the English text on the website is not always crystal clear, but hopefully you should be able to understand most of it. But of course, if you have any questions, any doubts, just get in touch. Can we move to the last slide? Yeah, thanks. So a few takeaway messages. First of all, make sure to build your consortium as early as possible. So you have about 3 months to build your consortium from now until the end of stage 1. So the matchmaking platform is there to help you do that, but we appreciate that it might be it's a difficult exercise, especially for early career researchers too. So make sure to make the most out of the matchmaking platform, and also engage as early as possible with any researchers that you hope to be building your consortium with. Secondly, read the call documents and your funding organization's national eligibility criteria carefully. So as I said, all the call documents will be online, including your funding organization's eligibility criteria. So in the call text, Annex A, you will see that there is a dedicated section for each of the countries participating in the call, and then from one organization to the other, the eligibility requirements and budget as well available differs, can differ quite a lot. So read this information carefully. And finally, just if you have any questions, get in touch with the Secretariat at the email address that's there, or with your respective funding organizations. So again, contact details for those are included in Annex A of the call text. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Benjamin, for that presentation, which was very, very clear. Please keep these takeaway messages. And I think really the main one is do not hesitate in getting in touch with us as soon as possible. And as soon as you have a question or some hesitation, it's absolutely vital that you get the information as quickly as possible. I'm now going to pass the floor to Shang-Yun, who's going to take you through how to use this, this platform. Shang-Yun, up to you.
Yeah, thank you, Shal. Good morning, everyone. I'm Shang-Yun Shen from the Secretariat of the JPI CH. I will share my screen so that you could see this platform that we're talking about. I think you would be able to see it. Okay, now we're actually on the homepage of this matchmaking platform. The URL is rather easy to memorize. It's jpich-matchmaking.com. And before I take you to this little tour on the platform, I would also like to highlight why we created this matchmaking platform in the first place. So as it pointed out here, it aims at supporting prospective research applicants in building or consolidating stronger transnational and transdisciplinary research consortia that meet the general eligibility requirements that my colleague Benjamin has just explained. It also aims at fostering networking, particularly for early career researchers, and at the complementarity of proposals in order to avoid duplication of the proposals. Before I jump to the technical part, which is how to use this platform, I also want to put your attention here because we actually made a matchmaking platform instruction. This is a menu, so if anything is not clear in my presentation, I hope not, but you can always come back to this menu and read all the instructions there. Okay, so if it's your first time landing on this platform, you probably want to register as a member, because the most important two functions of this matchmaking platforms, the members and the groups are only open to the registered members. Even if you click on them, the website will prompt you to use to sign up first. So why not create an account on this platform first? So to register for this platform is rather easy. Just click this button, register here. Then the sign up form will pop up. Besides all this basic information that you have to put, you also have to indicate your affiliation, your research interest, maximum 200 words, and also some keywords to concisely summarize your research interest. And then you have to tick on this I agree to the privacy policy. You could always read it by clicking on this link, and then you submit. Once you submit, you're supposed to receive the confirmation mail in your mailbox. If you don't see it, please do check in your spam folders, because we all know sometimes it happens. And when you have your registration confirmed through your mail, then you could come back to the website and start your first login. So actually, I already logged in this session. You can see my profile appears here. If it's your first time logging in, you could always go to the profile section. And you could, for example, add a photo of yourself here, and you could read all the information that you have just registered to share with other researchers, fellow researchers. If you want to make any modification to this text, you could always go to my account here, and all the informations here, you could freely modify them and then click update info, and all this information will be registered again. So with a registered account, then you could access the two most important functions of this platform. First of all, it's the members page. So the members page, as it indicates here, it's the place that you explore and connect with other researchers. For the presentation purpose, I will just change to another account that I created for demonstration. This is another account with the test account. So for this account, if I click the same page, I'm end up in the members. Okay, so in the members section, first I have this directory, which enlists all the registered fellow researchers. This will be a directory that will be updated manually by the call secretariat. And here you can easily navigate other researchers' interests and their keywords. For example, if I'm interested particularly on this researcher called Shang Yunshen, which is myself, and I read about him. If I want to get connected with him, it's very easy. I just need to copy his name, and then I paste here in the profiles, and you can see here appears. So with his name card here, I can either click or I can either click follow to follow him, or I can send him a private message. I can even click on his profile picture. Sorry, the internet is kind of slow here because I'm sharing my screen as well as trying to access the website. So I just clicked on the profile and I can read about his basic information. And if I decide to connect with him, as I said, I can send him a simple message. I already actually did this test, sending a hi, but why not another hi? And I send a hi, and immediately you will see here as the Shang Yunshen account here, I received that hi from this user called demo and demo. So it's a very useful tool, and we hope you can use it to connect with other fellow researchers. And then we can come to the next important function, which is also my personal favorite function of this whole platform, that is the groups. Excuse for the slowness of the internet. Yeah, here we're on the groups page. So on the groups page, if the members pay space is more for individual researchers to connect with each other, this group page is more for you to share about your proposal ideas, your research ideas. So what you can do here is that you can create groups. Just click here, this button, create groups. You can upload a cover image, and then you can name your group. For example, I already have here a group called Cathedral and Society Project. This is a tentative proposal that I want to make to apply for this call. So after you create a group, you can also choose the privacy of this group. It can be public. That means everyone will be able to see this group in the list, and then they will be also freely to join the group. They don't need to ask for your permission. And then it's the private. The private means that only the approved members can view this group, but it still will appear in this group list. But the other people, when they want to see the discussions going on inside the group, they need to request to join the group first. Without so, they cannot really see what's going on in the group. And if you want even more privacy, you can also create a hidden group. That means your group won't even show up in this group list, but then you have to personally, manually sending out invitation to other site members to invite them to join your groups, because in the first place, people couldn't even see your groups. So with a group, what can I do? For example, here I'm again on this account of test. For example, I see this group, Cathedral and Society Project. It's a private group, so I can't really access discussion, the media, the members, but I can read about this group. And if I'm interested in this project and I think maybe I can be useful, I can join their consortium, then I can request to join. So if you click request join, supposedly Shang Yunshen will receive a notification from that request, because Shang Yunshen, that is me, is who will be the, I'm also the administrator of this group. So I'm supposed to receive that request, and I can either approve that request or decline that request. So once you're approved to join a group, then this is the place, basically like all the other social media. You can post things, you can like other people's posts, you can even send emojis, and you can even share files, media, a lot of things, and you can even add other members to your group. And what is amazing about this platform, not only you can add people already registered on the platform, you can also add other people that has not been done so. You just have to simply put their email address, and then they will receive invitation mail. So these are all the functions that I would like to show you. I also want to point out that this whole matchmaking platform is mobile friendly, which means that you can always access it on go. And we, the Secretariat, just hope that you have a pleasant journey using this matchmaking platform, and we wish you the success for your application for the CHSC call. If you have any Q&A questions, we would be happy to answer them in the Q&A session, which happen to be the next one. And thank you for your attention. I will give the floor back to Sha.
Thank you very much, Shang Yung. That's an extremely clear presentation, and I think we can all appreciate how user-friendly this tool is. And I think actually we've ended our session here because it's just after 11 o'clock. Please do not hesitate. I can only insist on that, on two things. Read, when the documents are published, of course, read them very carefully and extremely carefully your own national requirements, because it is there that we usually see that we have problems with projects. And secondly, please get in touch with us if you do have any questions. Do not hesitate. Benjamin is available 7/7/24/24. He doesn't sleep when calls are launched, and so please do not hesitate to get in touch with him. And having said all that, I wish you an excellent day, and I hope to see a lot of your projects on this matchmaking platform, and receiving them later on before the end of the 7th of May. So to all, thank you very much, and goodbye.